Well, for UFO enthusiasts and investigators alike, this meeting has been a long time coming. NewsNation's special correspondent Ross Coulthart was the first to interview David Grusch about his UFO claims over the summer. Ross joins us now. I was really struck, Ross, and I know you were too, about a tweet that Congressman Gerald Moskowitz, Democrat of Florida, put out this afternoon, saying he thought that after this briefing, this classified briefing, that many of Grusch's claims have merit.
Exactly, Elizabeth, and good evening to you. I think it's extraordinarily significant what Jared Moskowitz has said, because it echoes what other members of the committee are saying privately, that whilst they weren't able to cover all of the complaint allegations made by David Grusch because of limited time and also security constraints, because there were certain things that the Inspector General couldn't talk about, what they were able to put to the Inspector General, he apparently did confirm as credible and authentic. And this is very, very significant. We're talking here about grave allegations of illegality and criminality by a former very senior, very well-informed intelligence official who worked at the highest levels of military intelligence in the US. And I think it's very interesting to hear now that committee members are talking about the probability of further hearings, because I do know there are other witnesses wanting to speak in the backdrops, waiting for that opportunity.
What did you make of Congressman Luna just now in Brian's package, talking about the fact that she now believes, in fact, people have been hurt as they tried to come forward and reveal what they knew?
Look, Elizabeth, I know for a fact that those allegations are true. I mean, I've had the most disturbing allegations put to me of people being hurt, threatened, and God forbid, even killed to protect this secret. And I suspect I know what Representative Luna is talking about, and I can only hope that there is an opportunity where a proper congressional committee can do its job and get this evidence put in a public hearing so that those responsible for these very serious crimes, we're talking here about crimes, are brought to justice and made to account for what they've been doing illegally, improperly, and without the oversight of the US Congress.
Do you think, I mean, they were meeting today in this SCIF, which is a secure room where you can discuss classified information with the inspector generals of the intelligence community. So they weren't meeting with the Pentagon or whoever might be running this alleged secret program. So what exactly were these lawmakers able to learn? What information does the ICIG, the Inspector General of the Intelligence Community, have?
Okay, the most important thing, Elizabeth, was although they couldn't go into specifics, you know, they couldn't be told where these alleged craft are, whether biologics are of a particular species or whatever, what they were able to be told was a broad confirmation of the credibility, of the authenticity of Mr. Grusch's claims. That is crucial because, as you know, there's been an enormous attempt to try and blacken Mr. Grusch's claims by casting doubt about them. The Pentagon keeps on putting out this very disingenuous assertion that Arrow has no credible evidence of extraterrestrial visitations to this planet. One, we're not talking about ETs, we're talking about something else. We're talking about a non-human intelligence. And two, Arrow, the Pentagon's UFO investigation office, does not speak for the Pentagon. It's time for very senior members of the military and indeed of the intelligence community to be brought forward under oath and properly questioned, because the Pentagon is allowed to get away too often with sophistry, evasive words which do not respond to specific allegations.
Yeah. Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.